easily 6 to 8 feet wide and hundreds of feet long. My administration formed a long-range planning commission which looked at a lot of problems that the town was trying to deal with. Mr. Rouse was not the first chairman, but he became co-chairman with Jessica Tower. A lot of thought was given to how this drainage problem could be solved. Mr. Palmer was never a member of that commission. He did not want to be. He was generous, however, in his thought process as to how it might be fixed or solved. I think that's all I'll say about that. Now, my next question, though, is the amount of money that we've been talking about and what the hospital is going to do. I don't really quite understand from what's been said. Was there a geographical limitation on what the hospital was going to do? I get the impression, listening to you all, that what they were going to do was going to stop when you ran into King Hill Road or Hospital Hill Road. The rest of that drainage there underneath Hospital Hill and into that pool and then back down into Margaret's property was the town's responsibility. Am I misunderstanding that? That's right. Was there a geographical concept?
That was the plan we looked at when we were still in office, but this plan came into play after you left office.
Right. So I still not sure I understand. Is that extraneous?
My concern is the dates that Mr. Palmer is accused of being double billed are quite explicit. What he did was repairing sewer laterals.
Which bill are you on? The 19,000 or the 36?
No, I'm on starting at invoice 27695 through invoice through invoice 27732. There's a lot of invoices here that involve sewer laterals, and I can't see that that's double billing the town because the hospital never agreed to pay me. He's billing $640, $270, $350. That's additional work to the project.
See, the bill you got now, these bills vary all over the place. That bill is for $35,660. The bill that I've got is for $36,330. And then he came back and agreed to give us a bill for under the $20,000, which is $19,967.80. So which one are you proposing that we pay?
I believe the $19,000 bill was really presented to you at your request to break down the two billings so that each was under the $20,000 limit.
No, I didn't request that at all.
Mr. Palmer's position.
No. I asked him if
And I can't help him on that.
Yeah, I asked him
That's
if,
the problem.
Yes.
I asked him if he would, because we couldn't go, we couldn't pay over $20,000 without going to town meeting, as
But
for finance.
That's not true.
Yes, it is true.
No, it's not true. We can take that out of our road budget. I asked Mrs. Pringle that very thing.
Well, that was a policy that began back a long time ago.
To bid projects.
To bid
But you
projects.
chose as general contractor to hire Mr. Palmer on time and material.
I didn't propose to hire him for anything.
You hired him. Meg and I didn't hire him.
The
Someone had to tell him to do the inlets and the outlets and the sewer laterals. Meg and I didn't tell him to do that.
The hospital hired him.
No, they didn't. They hired him to trench.
That's
Right,
right.
the 36-inch pipe.
In order to put that 36-inch pipe in, he had to cross those sewer laterals.
The sewer laterals did not show on any plans. For the simple reason that nobody knew where they were. But again, at the end of the day, Mr. Palmer's been in business for quite a few years. No contractor gives a fixed price bid on a set of plans that have yet to be designed. And at the time, and this is reflected in your minutes, we're not making it up, it's in your minutes, they're on the website. The price of the amount that the hospital is willing to contribute was specified in your minutes, the May 11th meeting, as being for the trenching. That was it, period.
And
And
trenching for what?
For the pipe.
for the pipe.
And you
And
think,
the
when
contract,
you have a trench, when you make a trench, do you think you have a beginning and an end?
clearly you do, but your own minutes reflect that the inlet and the outlet had not yet been designed. Now, Bob, when you were in the electrical business,
Now, but when he signed the contract, they had been designed on the 1st of June, and he signed the contract on the 8th of June.
but he signed a contract with the hospital, and the contract is very specific. It's trenching. It doesn't say inlet and outlet. It doesn't say materials, other than what's specified in there. It's it's trenching, period.
I've never
That was
seen a
it.
trench that didn't have an inlet and an outlet.
Well, you didn't
And
have
they
the
were
design,
on the
and you
plan.
had the price in May, but the inlet and the outlet hadn't been designed yet.
Well, I think the point is that the hospital was willing to pay for that specific piece of work. The town was responsible for the inlet and the outlet and additional work that needed to be done. The hospital said,
Says it right
this is
there.
what I have to spend, this is what I will contribute to the project. And they were very specific in what their contribution was.
I have never written a contract that put somebody else's name in saying they were responsible for something.
I think this illustrates you need a project management, you don't need to run it the way it's been run. You need somebody in charge of the start things, so there's regular monthly reports and costs and details, and it should be an independent, not something.
I think everybody knew, Harry, what the description of this was.
Well, that's not a true statement, Bob, because if we did, we wouldn't be here.
Well,
So Bob, when did we meet with Charlie and Brian Crowe?
Brian Crowe.
at the hospital? And we took this document right here,
Yep.
and we went down there and sat down at the table with him. Approximately, when did we do that? January, February, March, or April?
I would have it in my daily log downstairs, but it was early on, in April, I would say. Yeah.
So
I would say it's in
we
April.
sat with them at the table, we
Right.
took this document in, and we showed it to them. And I remember Charlie's comment, the most important comment. He said, "Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent on
Yeah, he
this?
said, I wish we'd had this a long time
Where
ago.
the hell were you 20 years
Yeah,
ago?"
Exactly.
And we talked about that design right there,
Yep,
right?
right.
That's option six.
Exactly.
Which is not option one. This didn't even exist. This hadn't even, you guys hadn't even authorized it. We sat and talked with them. I have a lot of respect for Charlie. He's one of the good old boys. We told him it was $39,990 some or whatever it was. He said, "Deal." Shook my hand, said, "Get me a contract before I leave. I'm out of here as CEO." The end of June, he said, "I want to sign it as the CEO." That was my deal with the hospital. I had no deal with anybody else. Absolutely no deal.
Why did you agree to, and why did you bring me in the bill for 19,000 rather than the 36,000?
When I've been asked by Malcolm to do the drainage in the front here, I did it. When the bridge fell in up in Ellsworth, Bob called me and said, "Can you..."
No, I mean this
We
project.
did it.
This project.
I'm talking about what I've been asked to do over the years. In the contamination at the town garage, building Lambert Road, Tickner Road, Pincher Rocks Road. We worked with the town crew. When Rob Roy got caught, cut with a chainsaw, had to go to the hospital, and the day you walked in there, you were having a very bad day. And I looked at this whole thing and said, "This is never going to happen." There were stumps down there, Rob, you know, they're so big your backhoe couldn't even lift them.
That's not true.
It is true. There were stumps down there, we put one per truck with our big machine. And I was asked to help, and I helped. And if you wanted me to stop after I pulled the stumps, I'd been more than happy to stop.
Why did you agree to give me a bill for $19,000?
I thought I understood you to say it had to be under 20,000. If you go to the second page of that bill and look up in the top left corner, you'll see it's specific to certain work that was done. It does not include tree work, stump work, topsoil, or whatever. It's specific to riprap or whatever. So if you want to split the bill and bill phase 1, phase 2, I don't have a problem with that at all.
You stood up and you said, I said, I have a letter from Charlie Theron. I said, would you accept under $20,000 for this job? And you said, no, I can't. You said, because that's half my bill.
And I agree with Charlie Theron's letter.
And
He's
then I
absolutely
said, I
right.
have a letter from Charlie Theron, and you stood up and you said, I'll take the $20,000. And you walked out. I followed you down to your building. I said, I'm gonna need a bill to reflect that for me. The next day you came in and you gave me the bill for $19,967.
Correct.
But Bob, the invoices on that bill are only some of the invoices. It's clear from the face of the bill.
And I agree with Charlie's letter. He's 100% right. Put it into context. We met with him and whatever, you picked the month. I don't care if it's January, February, March. It was before May 11th when you, the selectman of the town of Sharon, voted to have this document drawn. I was never asked to bid on this document. I never had a deal with the town of Sharon. Never had a contract with the town of Sharon. I had a contract with the hospital, and I could not start my work until the trees were gone, the topsoil was gone, and the outlet was gone. And you asked me for help
And you had from June, you signed your contract on June 8th.
with the
This
hospital.
came out on June 1st. You had till August 16th to come back to me and say that there were going to be additional charges, and I didn't get that.
No, there was not a additional charge because you intended that the town crew was going to do the work.
It's my assumption.
And that's what we found.
We discussed it at our meeting, that the
Not
town
the
was doing
inlet,
that.
not the inlet and outlet. You were going to do all the excavation. We were going to provide, just as Charlie said, in his agreement, we were going to provide the pipe, the stone, the fabric, and do the backfill.
Let's put it into context with the time. We made the deal with Charlie. You picked the month, I don't care. January, February, March, whatever day we met down there. I believe it was February, but I'm not sure. So Charlie's letter is 100% right. That's what we agreed on. You guys hadn't even authorized Leonard to design these yet. Bob, you never asked me to bid on this. I thought the town crew was doing this.
Which was my assumption.
How would I know?
Then you assumed wrong, because you were in charge of all the excavation.
Sorry. You were the GC. You were in charge. The general contractors.
Town was the general
I
contractor.
think that we need somebody else to sort this
I'm
out.
willing to make a motion right now to pay Mr. Popper, because I think it's absurd we don't. I'll move we pay him the $35,660.30. Because I think he's well deserved. I think this was totally mismanaged. I think the man's been treated poorly. I think he's deserved an apology, and I think he's deserved a retraction. Because things were said about him that aren't true.
Is that a motion, John? Do you have a motion, Tina?
I got that we paid, was it
Well,
35,000?
that's the first
Why,
one.
why are we paying the 35? Let me ask you that in the discussion.
It's in the bill I have.
Second motion, and we'll have further
Okay.
discussion. John, what's your motion?
To pay the bill.
I second that motion. Discussion?
Okay. Why did he come back with a $19,000 bill after I said,
It's not relevant to the 35,000.
There's a
I
motion.
make a motion to pay his bill.
I agree, second. What happened to the motion that was supposedly on the floor?
It's still on the floor. This is a discussion period, and then we will
that's right,
vote
vote on it.
yea or nay. So, any other discussion, Bob?
Yeah, I disagree with this totally.
Well,
And,
that'll be your vote.
That's right, that's right.
And where are we going
Okay.
to sell it?
All right.
So I need to-
I'll call for the vote.
John, are there any other bills other than this bill that we're going to be looking at? Or is this the only bill?
This is the only bill.
You should amend it to it's out of
I'll call for the
which
vote.
part that is.
I'll amend to add that we'll pay it on the road budget.
Are you going to get any retraction?
Well, I'll make that motion.
That's a separate motion. Okay, so, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye.
And I'd like to make a motion that we owe Mr. Palmer an apology and a retraction of statements made in last month's meeting. I see no evidence of double billing.
What was his statement?
You accused him of double billing the town. It's not true. He
That's-
charged
You're
you.
making a motion.
I'm making a motion.
And
Are you seconding that?
I will second that.
Okay.
I would like to-
Discussion?
Yes, I would like to discuss that. I think it's not just a matter of double billing. I think the fact that the OSHA violation was brought up a month ago and was brought up again today, when it's not relevant, because the town was not affected by that. And by making those comments publicly, you are questioning
It's-
Florian Palmer's character. That's my comment. I think we owe him an apology for that too, because that was not necessary.
And I'll amend my motion and refer this to the town attorney for the proper wordage of the retraction. From the board, so I can have the first.
Okay.
From the board, so.
I'm only reiterating what the town attorney told me to do. She told me to check with Mr. Palmer and make sure that we were not attached to any fee, the OSHA fine that he got. And I asked him for that.
But we weren't involved, so why bring it up?
That's the
Because
point.
I brought it up because the town attorney advised me to do it.
And you did. And we were not involved, so it's.
We were not involved, so there.
Well, it's all part of
Now
it.
the rest.
It's, everything is on the table here. You bring everything and let everybody know what's going
It's
on.
not pertinent. It was not necessary, Bob, period.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
I oppose. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry this had to happen, but I see it different. I worked with it.
I think, Bob, it's a symptom of you working too much alone and not with your board.
No, John, you came in and we worked together on, you voted on this, I have it written minutes from the May 11 meeting. You made the motion to accept the project.
I did, I agree, I'm not going to argue that.
Is there a point of order? Do you all have a point of order? Get that
You
one
don't
down?
have
Oh,
another.
you don't? Oh, you don't?
No, it's the selectmen's meeting.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not arguing
I
that.
think that the vote is, we voted on this, and I think the discussion can be continued at another time. We do have other items on the agenda, and we've been meeting now for an hour. Agreed?
All right, number 9, appointment of Board of Recreation and Youth, Tisha Brazy. Meg, you have requested before that we review these things in a month before, was it a month?
Okay.
A week? And you didn't get the information, so you want to hold it over to the next
Yeah, I'd
meeting?
just like to table it. And the reason I'm suggesting we table it is that we, the selectmen, voted to request information for appointees to boards and commissions, request information from them to come in about a week in advance, 7 days in advance, so that we could review their information prior to a vote. And when these are handed to us at the table at the time of the meeting, it's not the time to be reviewing information. So, anyway, so that's what that's all about. So if we can table that till the next meeting, that'd be great.
Are you
Make a motion?
Are you requesting more information about it?
No, I just
We're
want
going
to
to make a
review it.
motion to table.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know you get that, yeah, the 5th.
Okay.
See the date.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Reappointment of Sharon Housing Authority, Myron Silverman.
So moved.
Okay. Meg,
Second?
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meg, you have a report on the CCM meeting you attended, and what was it?
I do.
Hartford?
Yes, I went to Hartford on October 5th and attended the Connecticut Council of Municipalities 2011 annual convention. I went as a representative of the town of Sharon, and I did bring some information back. First of all, the keynote address was done by Governor Daniel Malloy, and it was very informative. The main thing I took from that was the fact that the governor is very interested in shortening the permitting process that every town in the state of Connecticut goes through And that was emphasized throughout the day, everyone that was there. So I would expect that in the future we find that permitting processes in the towns will be shortened. There was a commissioners' roundtable that Benjamin Barnes, Secretary of the Connecticut Office of Policy Management, attended. Daniel Esty, the Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, was there. I spoke to him specifically about our transfer station. I told him that we were in the process of putting this together, and could he give me an idea of how long the permit process would be for this project. So he would be responding to me by email. So that, in and of itself, to me, was worth the trip, actually. James Rediker was there, who's the Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Transportation, as was Catherine Smith, the Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development. So we had a lot of people from Hartford there, and it was well worth attending. I attended 2 workshops. I chose the Managing Municipal Liability workshop because we have many easements, and that's been a concern for the town of Sharon for years, ever since we lost immunity. Good news to report is that the recreational use immunity statute was reinstated and was effective on October 1st. So that really takes the burden off our shoulders. And there are 5 points that I'll make based on that workshop, and that was that it was suggested that we as a town do not create a manual that it has guidelines for maintenance, because when we do that, the guidelines can be used against the town in the case of litigation. So that's words of caution. If we do have to have counsel, it's recommended that we should have counsel that has a specialty in land use. Our trails, it was recommended that we have no hazard signs on them, because again, we open ourselves up to liability. When our facilities are used here in town, it was recommended that we have a signed use agreement that states that the town is held harmless. And that's just a reminder for us to make sure whenever